All right, cool. Good to see you both again.
How's everyone doing?
Good, good. I would say we'll get right into it because I think we have a lot to cover today, right?
We do have a lot to cover.
So the stage is yours.
Okay, well, I'll jump in. I sent the recap, so I'll jump in and just give an overview of what we're discussing today. So we have some awesome things to share with you. We have an amazing persona to share with you, and then a customer journey map or a user journey map. And also, we want to briefly go over the benefits of this user journey map, and just to follow up from our last conversation, basically.
Okay.
So, Sven, I sent you the persona and the user journey map last night.
Yep.
But I have, Marwan and I have both edited it since then. So we'll send you another one, and we can upload that into the shared drive.
Yeah, I already did. So just replace it in there.
Oh, okay, great. So for the time being, I can share my screen and we can walk through it that way. And it's pretty good to go through it on Figma as we're talking about it, because we can also change things as we're talking about it. We can just type and change whatever we need to. So let's get into that. I'm going to share my screen. Do you guys have anything to add before I jump in here?
Nope.
Okay, great. Well, let's get into it. Okay, I'm going to share my entire screen. I have a ton of tabs open. Okay, do you see my screen?
Not yet.
No? Oh, interesting. Okay. Let's see. I think maybe if I let me try it this way. My entire screen. Yeah.
What does it say?
Basically, I can share my entire screen right now. And then you're looking at my desktop.
Nope, I don't it doesn't pop up in StreamYard even, so it's not it's not sharing.
Okay. Oh, there we go. It looks like I can share Figma now. I don't know. I was moving some things around. Can you see Figma now?
Nope, still nothing. It's not giving you any error?
Yeah, I am getting an error message. It says Chrome has lost permission. Just capture your screen. Oh, I have to set some permissions here. Okay, let me just do this really quickly. So I have to change my settings. That's very strange because I was able to share the other day. Thank you for waiting here. Under privacy and screen recording.
I'm looking at the options here for choose what to share, but Figma is not coming up.
Do you have it open on your?
Yeah, it's open, but it's not giving me the option of sharing the Figma screen. So I don't know if it's just not. I don't know if it's not allowing Figma. It's not picking it up.
It has nothing to do with the browser tab. Usually, it usually is an issue with the browser settings itself, because I don't see anything coming through yet from my view.
I think it is my browser settings, which is strange because I've shared before. I'm on my browser settings right now on Google Chrome. I'm just looking where I can give permission for screen recording. Oh, let's try in here. It might be.
Which one are you trying to share?
It might be on my Mac. Hold on just a moment. Oh, okay, I'm almost there. I had to do it through my Mac here. Screen recording, Google Chrome. Okay. Okay. It should work now. All right. Do you see my screen?
Yep.
Yay. Awesome. Okay. Thanks for waiting. Okay. Before we dive in, I just want to go over some benefits of journey mapping. And the purpose of sharing this, Sven, is to to have these in your mind as we go through, and hopefully gain insight from one of these points here. When we go through the journey map too, we have specific outcomes that we can do moving forward, which I think you'll also get a lot of benefit from that. But basically, the purpose of this user journey map, which is inclusive of the persona, is to give a holistic overview of the customer experience, to really see that on a visual way. It's also very memorable when you can see it visually outlaid like this. So yes, that holistic overview. It's also about getting us aligned on the same page so we can agree on how to improve the customer experience together. It's also exploring touch points, which are points of interaction. These touch points can be things like word of mouth would be a touch point when people first hear about CoStarting. The website is a touch point. StreamYard is a touch point. It's also about gaining more understanding and empathy for the customer. It's about, like I said before, conveying information in a concise and memorable way, and then establishing goals to move forward. And that's these outcomes down below that we'll go over. So do you have any thoughts on that, Sven, on those benefits?
Nope.
Before? Okay.
Makes sense.
Just keep those in your mind and as we go through. So we'll start here with this persona. If you want to take it away, Marwan.
All right. So yeah, this is our persona, Andrew Barris. So he's a middle-aged man, lives in Texas. Computer engineer, his full-time job, married. So obviously.
Guys, I don't know who has the beeping on, but it's extremely loud coming through quite frequently. So maybe mute that.
That might be me. I'm sorry. I didn't, because it's going through my laptop. I didn't think you guys could be able to hear it.
That's super loud.
Yeah, let me silence. It's a group chat. All right, do not disturb. Perfect. So yeah, this is, as I said, Andrew Barris. So yeah, he has a lot of responsibilities. Actually, let me restart because I don't know if you heard any of that. But yeah, so this is our persona, Andrew Barris, middle-aged man, lives in Texas, has a full-time job, computer engineer, and married with 2 kids. So of course he has a lot of responsibilities. He works, average of 9 to 5, so about 40 hours a week, and he has a lot of ideas that he would like to tackle. A bunch of them are, so he wants to be an entrepreneur, and he just wants, I guess, a community that will help him, build these projects and get them to where they need to be. So his frustrations are he doesn't want to go through the process alone, as it can be difficult, and especially if you're new to something, it's you're not gonna have as much. You're not gonna have experience or know where to, publish and get these different I guess, ideas and kind of flesh down your projects well enough for it to be published and to reach out to, customers, potential customers and whatnot. So, he has an idea but doesn't want to go through the process alone. And his ideas for projects are, are big and vast, but so that kind of makes it difficult for him to know where to start. Um, yeah, so he doesn't know where to start. So his wants and needs are to establish a reputable brand that customers would want to associate with, and reaching those customers and being able to draw them in, to capture their attention, and obviously also learn different processes such as building in public, which are very important. And some of these processes, he doesn't even know about or know that exist. And also, obviously, a fun environment to share ideas and get feedback, get and as well as give, quid pro quo, with others of a similar mindset, so other entrepreneurs and such. But yeah.
Awesome.
So one of my questions there would be like, how do we differentiate, and how does that impact us with knowing this persona now on what he knows or doesn't know yet? Because I think that is probably one of the most important parts of the persona and will dictate on how we address them and where do we find them, right? Because if let's pick the one you mentioned, right? To learn different processes like building in public.
Mm-hmm.
If he already knows about that and knows that he wants to use that, that is potentially completely different from someone who does not know about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because and that I know about that specifically because that is, I have dealt with both sides, right? I have specifically tried to target people or market towards people, engage with people on Twitter who are doing that already, building in public, and trying to show them it's like, hey, there is another way, like kind of more and a more engaged way, a peer group way to doing what you're already doing, right? Versus if they don't even know what building in public is, they are not hanging out in the same area. So from a persona building perspective, how do we differentiate that? And because those are kind of the obvious wants, right? Like we're assuming he wants what we deliver, but I don't necessarily know if that's always true. You guys know the famous example with the faster horses, right? Henry Ford, I'm sure. Do we? If you don't,
I believe so. It's familiar, but
yeah, it's like if you would ask what people want, right?
They want a fast horse.
Right, they wanted a faster horses, not a car, because they didn't know what cars are, right? So, kind of help me think through that, or what are you guys' thoughts on that?
I have some thoughts. I don't want to speak over you though, Marwan.
No, go ahead, and then I'll add unless it might be the same thing that we're thinking. But yeah, go ahead.
It might be because Marwan and I were talking about this earlier as well. You have a really good. Can you still see my screen?
Yeah.
The persona is open still, yeah.
Oh, the persona. Okay, good. So you definitely have a good point that it is important to differentiate these different aspects, because that was present a bit in our interviews. Some people were wanting more specific framework. So say they weren't familiar with building in public, to go with that example. They'd want to know more resources on that. One person we spoke to during the interviews was surprised by how much he appreciated building in public by the end. He did not expect that because he did not know a lot about building in public before, and definitely wanted to know more. So that would be one person. And then another person, yes, someone who's more familiar with building in public. And so Marwan and I were going back and forth a little bit about creating one or two personas, but I think it would be beneficial to come up with some differentiation, and we can also brainstorm what some of those differentiations would be. The people we spoke to, we noticed a lot of similarities between them, and so it was a bit difficult with the pool that we talked to, but because we also need to base these on real facts that we heard as well. But I agree, we can find some differentiation and divide these a bit too. And I think you'll get a lot of insight from the user journey maps too, with how we can help their specific needs and frustrations too. So I guess I'll leave it with this, is that we can definitely put more time into the persona and create another one that's more differentiating, but we need to also see what is going to be most valuable with our time right now too. So we'll have to discuss that, and we can create, I was just talking about this with Rafael as well, really prioritizing which projects are going to create the most impact for you moving forward with the time that we have left.
Okay.
Yeah, so this persona is pretty general. We were brainstorming of, with a different persona, but like you said, we don't have enough information. This is all based on majority of the interviews that we had, and these are kind of the similarities. But in terms of like learning, that like pretty general, like whether you know the process or you're still, whether you know it but you don't know how to really navigate through it, or you don't know it at all, you're still learning at that point. So it is a kind of general thing, but yeah, to get something, different, we would need something substantial. But yeah,
Well, I think that the point being here is probably rather that, again, right, like hearing that helps me. It doesn't help me all that much if it's, if they know the building public process or not, they want to learn about something like it. But what does that mean in a person? Like, who is that kind of person? I think that's kind of what I'm looking for in the personas, right? Or what I think we're trying to accomplish is finding these common traits, wants and needs, right? They all had, maybe, all the people you talk to and what you see in this research so far, which might indicate that something like building public or that accountability group will help, right? I guess this is actually kind of funny because on the Cohort 3 session, the 1 month check-in just this week, one of them said, sell the benefit, not the feature. And if we think about that, that's very powerful, because I think that's kind of how we want to draft our personas, and then everything else after that as well, right? Because right now, we're kind of a little bit on the track of selling the feature while we're selling accountability, and we're selling a build in public process, but maybe not. Maybe we're actually selling the benefit they have from doing that, right? Meaning being more productive, being more, I don't know. But do you guys understand what I mean? Kind of.
People need to know what they're going to be getting out of it. That's relating back to the whole value we've been talking again and again about. We want to know what they're going to get at the end.
But I'm saying you can't, like, okay, the difference is there's tons of examples for this. Like, someone does not want a chair. They want a place to sit, right? And that is a huge difference. Very simple example, but a huge difference on what you are selling. Are you selling a solution to sit, the most comfortable solution to sit, or are you selling a wooden chair, right? And you might want to go in either direction, but that's kind of what that means. Sell the benefit, not the feature. Sell what it does, not what it is. And for us, that is the value, right? What they are getting is, well, that's what we're defining right now. But it's not how they are getting it, what we're selling. Because they're not joining for being in 5 check-ins, right? That's not why they're joining. They're joining for the value they're getting out of those 5 check-ins. They're not joining for the building in public. they're joining for what they're getting from doing so.
Well, it depends on the person as well, because it sounds like one of the people, and there's an aspect of this in the journey map as well, that the building in public is an asset for them as well.
Right, but not because of the building in public. It's because of what the building in public does.
But they can also use the building in public for their own product.
Yes, of course. But again, like, are you buying a chair because you want a chair? Maybe there might be chair collectors, actually. Maybe. But you're probably buying a chair because you want a solution to sit, right? And you're probably building in public because you're trying to reach customers, or you're trying to be more authentic or something like that. So that's what I'm trying to say. I think we need to just look at it from the other direction, which might help us be more value and solution oriented or outcome oriented from a persona perspective, rather than saying, okay, we have feature 1 through 3. This persona wants feature 1 and 2. This persona wants feature 2 and 3. But maybe that's not the right way to think about it.
So are you saying, just to really zone in here, are you saying particularly looking at their motivations too?
Yeah, I think in part. Yeah, I think in part it's the motivation. That one's tough, right? Because I think that's why personas are interesting, because we are to a degree making an assumption of that motivation, of course. Because again, they might not even know what their own motivation is, right? It could be like it says in the top description, right? It's like, okay, they want to start a business, but they really don't know anything about anything else. And maybe they don't even know that they really don't want to start a business yet, for example, which happens actually quite a lot in this space, right? Like you think you want to be an entrepreneur. We talked about it actually with Rafael, but you might not. So yeah, I'm realizing this going a little bit broad. So I think this is a good start.
Let's go into the user journey maps, because I do want to leave a lot of time for that, because it would be nice to go through that very thoroughly. There's a lot of solutions to move forward with it. And then at the end of this call, let's decide if you want us to dive deeper into making another persona, or if you think our time would be well spent working on these solutions for the high fidelities. Yeah, because we will need to prioritize.
Yeah, you need to tell me where we are at with the timeline, right? Of course, if we if we switch around, then you might not have enough time for the rest, which of course we need to get the rest done.
Okay, well,
go ahead.
Let's move into the journey map. I'll just give like a brief holistic overview of it, and then Marwan and I will go step by step more thoroughly through it with you. But basically here we have our persona Andrew again. And
can you close the layers on the left, or like these menus?
Here. Good point.
It might be better.
There we go. Much better. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, this scenario here, we were a bit more broad with this scenario. And Rafael and I were just talking about that as well. This in general is a bit broad. And Rafael said that we could also divide it into more specific sections. But also I wanted to bring the point in that all of these design assets we're giving you, all will need iterations on them eventually.
Of course.
They're definitely going to change over time. And so I want to emphasize that point as well. But basically our scenario here is that, again, like we were just speaking about looking at the persona, but he was recommended CoStarting from a friend. So we're going to go with the word of mouth here. And he's launching a side project and would like to explore how CoStarting can help him before he commits and signing up to the cohort. So he wants to know what he's going to get out of this, what value he's going to get before he jumps in. And these goals here, we have 6 different goals. This is going to span throughout the entirety of this process. So this first column here is awareness, when people are first discovering CoStarting, and then we have post-cohort, being engaged in the community afterwards. And so these 6 goals do span that as well. So do you want to start us off with the first column here? Oh, and let me just to give actually a brief overview of these different rows. We have the steps that it's going to be in each different process here, and the information that they're looking for, what feelings they're having. This line here represents different feelings as well. This bar in the middle is basically the baseline. And so it's a pretty good visual representation of these points we need to fix here more. So when it dips down, these are big areas we need to focus on improving.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have our touch points. Touch points are going to be where people are interacting, word of mouth, the CoStarting website, LinkedIn, Twitter. We also got some good info from the analytics, where we saw that 75% of the people on your site are from desktop, 25 from mobile. And then this is going to be what you're going to love down here, Sven, I'm pretty sure. This is our outcomes. These are the solutions based on each step of the process. And then we can prioritize these as well. And we're going to be integrating a lot of this into our high fidelities.
Okay.
So, yeah, do you want to start us off, Marwan?
Yeah, sure thing.
And I can zoom in and out.
Yeah, it's hard to read right now.
Okay.
Well, it's impossible actually. It's the small print. That's good.
So yeah, for discovery, awareness, first step is, you think of a business idea that you want to start, and you hear about CoStarting. You referred by a friend, and then this friend sends you the website to CoStarting. So you have these expectations. You go check it out. So the information needed is where to find the website, and then how to contact CoStarting, which is important to get into the community, right? And to get even more information about it if you don't really know enough. So being able to contact CoStarting, and then of course feelings are, you don't know what to expect, so you do have a little bit of fears, and this is like uncharted territory. You're a beginner. You haven't done anything like it, so you have reservations, but you're also excited about starting the business. So that's why it's starting to the as you can see in the line, starting to go up, because you're getting your interest peaked, so you're excited, and then as you go down the so for the touch points, pretty simple. It's word of mouth. It's you get referred through a network, and then you get all these different contacts that you build, and through that you can connect on LinkedIn, and then a big thing of yours, of course, is like Twitter, reaching out to people on Twitter, and not just Twitter, of course, but any social media. And so outcomes are, you're looking for other ways to refer customers, refer directly from CoStarting, or I think you talked to her mentor about it.
Yeah, can you I'm sorry to interrupt. Can you move your mouse, Marwan?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, sorry about that.
But yeah, looking for other ways to refer customers and advertise is a big thing, because word of mouth only can get you so far. And based on the analysis on the Google Analytics, 75 users, and I think it was like an average of like maybe 5 a day. If we can go, raise that up, so advertise and get more people even at least on the site just to see it. Even if they may not be interested, they might at least know of somebody that might be interested, and they can refer people that way. But you need to get as many people as possible to see the site, and be intrigued, and then the more people that see it, the higher the chance that at least, say, 1 out of 10 would be interested, and ask for more information, and then maybe 1 out of like 100 might actually invest in it and be, ready for the process and whatnot. But yeah, the more people that you reach through advertising, and so that's key, is just reaching more people and finding a different way to advertise.
Right. We'll be careful with that though, right? Because if the message is not coming through yet, then throwing $1 million at advertising would still not do anything.
Yeah,
Definitely. Okay, I'm going to. Do you have anything else to add there, Marwan?
No. Do you?
No, well, do you have any questions about that, Sven? And again, we can.
Yeah, no, just keep going. I'll
Okay.
raise my voice if I have something to say. Don't worry.
Okay, got it. Yeah, I definitely want to get through all of this, so I just want to be
Right.
mindful of that.
Yeah.
So I do want to add one point here that, yes, we have the discovery here, but this explore and consider and define, this information was based off of the usability, the unmoderated usability test that we did. And so we do have some quotes here. These are all quotes that were from those tests. The sign up and apply, that was also from the unmoderated testing that we did. And those are also quotes from that.
Can I get access to that?
Yes, definitely.
Like just for future reference, and I have some time, I'd love to look at that.
It was very, very helpful. And there is a certain way. So I did a free trial.
Okay.
Because you have to pay for it, but I did this little loophole to get a free trial. So I can share that with you.
That'd be awesome.
Okay. So, and these blue columns here, this is from Marwan and the interviews that we conducted. So just want to kind of give that color coding breakdown a bit as well. But let's go into explore and consider. So this is going to be, this section here, explore and consider, this is going to be when they're just checking you out. They're going to go to your site, they're going to get their first impressions and really understand even what CoStarting is. They're still trying to understand that. So that's what this column is representing. So they're going to go to your website, they're going to scan through, they're going to browse to the first page, and they're going to be looking at the testimonies. Something that from the unmoderated testing was that there was one person in particular who loved the video testimonies because she said it was very real. And sometimes when you read reviews, you don't really know if they're real or not. They can be fake. So she loved the fact that there was these real people. I think it would be really cool to pull out certain quotes that people are saying from those, because in a certain way, they're also, not everyone's going to click through and watch them, but just some food for thought there. But the testimonies were great. People loved them. And as people are going through, they're going to be asking, what value will I get out of this? This is the information that they're looking for. And some of the value, these points of value are from our interviews and the unmoderated testing, but basically collaboration, brainstorming with others to get ideas, gain information across the world. That's a big value as well, connecting with people from across the world. Networking, building in public, accountability, and having some fun. And people, when they were on your site, this is definitely from the unmoderated testing, people loved the idea. And I want to say that, I want to shout that, but people loved the idea. They were all like, this is really cool. So people were happy. People were really happy with that. You definitely have a great product going on here. So I definitely want to shout that out to you. And here's some quotes here. There was some good feedback on the orange color. People said very bright, vibrant, welcoming vibe to it with the color. There was some comments on it being text heavy, which we can help that. We spoke before about like infographics and information architecture. We'll take away some of that text to make it read quicker and easier. People can see the benefits of it. And a genius idea in terms of transparency and trustworthiness. I'm quite sure that quote was from the testimonies.
Okay.
So yeah.
Do you, like, we can take this offline, just this real short question. Do you know how we can use that? Like, is that video driven, those unmoderated tests? Like,
yes.
Are they recorded? Okay.
Yes. So there are videos and you can watch the videos.
Do we have license to use that stuff? Do you know by any chance?
I don't believe so. I don't know. I definitely don't know, but
yeah, I'll look into the terms of service, because that would be cool, right? Like, of course, this is the stuff like we should be sharing right now. Well, we are, obviously we're live, but that's great to hear. And both, right, the negative, like the text heavy, which totally expected. But love to hear that it actually does seem, it actually, like, first moment here, and I think the next column will dampen that a little bit, but it does seem to come across actually a little bit better than I would have even expected from what they're getting, right?
And I want to be valuable of the time here and not talk too much about it, but there was a lot of really great impressions that people had with the unmoderated testing. Like they were saying, like the co-working was coming through, entrepreneurs was coming through, like-minded people was coming through with first impressions, collaboration was coming through, brainstorming and getting ideas was coming through really clear for people. So the idea was coming through, and people were finding that. Okay, so let's keep going here though. So the touch points here are going to be the CoStarting website, LinkedIn, and Twitter. They're also going to check you out on there. You have a CoStarting LinkedIn page and the Twitter page as well. So they're also going to be getting impressions there.
Did that come through from? Did you get an idea of if people actually did click on those to try to get more info? Because I mean, the only thing we have is on the bottom right, the Twitter link and the YouTube link.
No, I don't think anybody clicked on them.
Okay.
No, which that can be something we can look at too, because it's just the icons you have. So I don't know if something we could make that more clear. Definitely, I think it's important to make a more clear way to contact you. I see that from the website, that there's not a lot of clear contact span from the website. I think that could be more clear. And then the outcomes here and basically solutions moving forward. And these are not, we're not going to be able to do all these. A lot of these are for you for later too, brainstorming. So again, we're going to have to prioritize here. But how can we clearly tell the story of CoStarting and what the value is in a very sequential way? Condensed and clear information architecture with defining CoStarting, less text on the page, that's related. An about page, talking about CoStarting and featuring you spend. People want to see you, they want to see who created this, they want to get trust from you, humanness. And we were talking about this with Rafael as well. That can include the passion video from you. We were talking about clearly communicating the value of the testimonies, because these are great, these testimonies are awesome. And then showing how it worked well for these other people really clearly. Separating out the mission and the value. I think that was creating some confusion on the site, because those are kind of intermingled right now, the mission and the value. The hero image and landing page, that's more of a high fidelity thing we were talking about with Rafael as well. Adding more pictures to make it more of a human feel here. And then refining the brand, the golden circle. This was a suggestion from Rafael as well, for something for you to look into. Is from Simon Sinek. I don't know too much about it, but it's a process of creating the brand. Okay.
I know it. Yeah, it's
okay,
good.
Cool.
And I've gotten this feedback a couple times already. So.
Well, you know, when you gotta look for those patterns of what you're hearing.
Yep.
All righty, Marwan.
All right. So next stage, define. So when people click on, any cohort,
sorry, real quick, just so explore and consider, that's like first impression, right? Define, is that kind of the decision-making process right now? We're defining if we want to go forward, or if we hate it, kind of thing.
Yes, and we can put that in there too, because they're like, is this for me right now? What is this? Am I going to gain? Right. So it is the decision point as well. Good point there.
Exactly. Yeah. So that being said, they want to make decisions, so they explore. They look at past cohort, for example, cohort 1, or any of the past videos that you've uploaded, and read through the requirements just to know what to expect. Review the curriculum. That's important. That goes with anything that requires any type of commitment. You want to know what you're getting into, what to expect. And then information needed would obviously be what is included in the cohort. What is the criteria for joining a cohort? You know, can it be anybody? Could it be somebody that, you know, has nothing to do with business but has a good idea and wants to explore it, or somebody that's deep into his idea and might need just a little bit of tweaking and a little bit of feedback, things like that. And then feelings, you know, the confused, they're based on the page, you know, there's a lot of confusion just because everything's on that one page. And as previous comments have already been stated, you know, it's very text heavy and not a lot of people, very few people ever read that much, if any at all. So that's why images and infographics go a long way. So right there, you know, the feeling just plummets, and you know, people are just like confused. Obviously some of the quotes here are, I wish there was a clear explanation just here of what a cohort includes. Frustrated, confused, annoying. Sorry, Elizabeth, do you mind moving the mouse?
Oh, yep. Sorry.
I'm like on my
Sorry about that.
no, you're good. There's not a lot of information. But I mean, it's all cluttered. But yeah, essentially going down, as we said, as Liz has already stated, you know, based on analytics, Google Analytics, you know, most people are on desktop, 25 are on mobile, and that's an important thing to know, because we want to know, you know, how to make the layout. So there is, actually we can go into that another time just to save us time, but
yeah, I mean that I can answer that pretty quickly. It's absolutely imperative that we have a responsive design, right? We just need both. That right now, that's too small of a data set, the 75-25% mix. I would highly imagine that will sway towards mobile with scale.
Okay.
But again, this is just a guess, but that's why, like, it absolutely needs to have both, right? Like, I think that's just, you can't get around that almost in any website anymore these days.
Yeah, so you're familiar. And then of course some outcomes are very important: clear information about cohort requirements, and the curriculum, single page for cohort requirements. So a big thing is like a tab bar, and just splitting up the information required. So if you know what you're looking for, you can just go straight there instead of browsing a whole page. And you know, it's less condensed when it's several pages. So one page would be just cohort requirement, time frame requirements, payment, moderated, all these different information in different parts of the website, different pages, limited spots left. People love exclusive. I can't even say it. Exclusivity. Yeah,
It's a hard one.
I think just for me. I think you guys could say it very.
No, it's hard for me too. I have trouble talking.
But yeah, people like exclusive things, even merchandise, website, like, and that's big with, like, you know, like you guys are probably familiar with Yeezys, and Supreme. Like they throw out limited supply and everybody wants them, and then you know.
Marlon, I have to say, like, the very short amount of time I know you, I'm not surprised you brought up Supreme as an example here.
That's funny. I mean, I guess I'm an open book, huh?
Hey, that's not, you know, I don't mean it negative or anything. It's
I
just
don't take it negatively. No.
I don't know anything about Supreme.
I quite interestingly enough, the only reason why, I know nothing about fashion. My wife's really, she knows everything about fashion, not because of trends or anything, but her business. But I think the only thing why I know about Supreme is actually marketing, because they are very good at it. I believe there is a couple documentaries or something I must have watched or read articles about it. Because that's the only way I get pop culture anything.
Important. But yeah, that's huge. That word, exclusivity. Let's go with that. Option to talk to you and learn more. So I kind of mentioned it before during the heuristic analysis, just having, big button call to action for joining, and another one, maybe a little smaller but still important, is just having, ask for, if you want more information, click here, or something that floats around, follows you throughout the page, as you're learning more, and then as soon as you're interested and you want to learn more, you can click that button on the bottom or something, and then easy access to, as soon as you get that, then they're pretty invested at that point. If they want more information, then they're pretty invested. And then a navigation bar, self-explanatory. But yeah, go ahead, Liz.
Cool. I just wanted.
I actually really like this column.
Yeah.
We got to the points of what I kind of expected, right? And very clearly now confirmed, okay, these are the things which are missing or bad. And they're actually not that hard to fix, I think, right? I think we can do with a little bit, we can already get a long way. So awesome. Fantastic.
Yeah.
This is definitely the biggest area to fix. And we, from the work we've done, it's all kind of funneling. We know which direction to move forward. But even in the unmoderated testing, this was one of the tasks for people to do, was to define what was in the cohort. And this is when it dropped down. They have their own graph where people rated this task. This was the hardest for them. And right now the cohort requirements are under cohort 1. And so if we just have a separate page for cohort requirements, it's going to be a lot more simple. And it's all about when we tell the story as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so they've decided they're gonna join. So they're gonna sign up and apply. So as Marwan was just talking about, this is a lot about the CTAs, because there's the waitlist, there's the apply, there's the join, and then you've just added join the community. So the waitlist actually goes to the sign up page. They all go to the same form.
No, they just look the same. They're not the same.
I wanted to talk to you about that because it seemed like that was in Slack yesterday, but I took a screenshot here of.
Oh, I think.
Oh, it's not.
I think I know what you mean.
So the waitlist does go to the same form as the. Whoa, did that just get warped a bit? Sorry about that.
So let's do it. Yeah. I mean, yes, they all go basically just to the waitlist sign up. Other than, I think, hopefully the community actually goes to the Slack. Yep, it does.
The community goes to the Slack, but the other ones all go to the same form. There we go. Is that better? So we definitely need to change that. People were confused about which one was the actual application. But the good news was, when people got to the application, they were like, oh, this is small, this is easy to fill out. But it was just the process of getting there. So we'll refine that during our high fidelities. And this is something we need to talk about a bit too. If you will apply and join, to me seem like the same thing. But then, do you want to have a wait list, or do you want to have a learn more? But yeah, we can, when we get down to the outcomes, we'll talk more about that. But basically the steps here, they're going to find their CTA, they're going to fill out the application, they're going to submit that. Then they're going to receive a personal email from you, and then they're going to have a 15-minute call with you and either get accepted or rejected. Hopefully accepted.
Yeah. Can we make that? I mean, I know we talked about this late last night, so maybe just add a 0.5 here.
Yep.
15-minute call, or / intro video, maybe, because again, I think we can do that in a non-synchronous way. At least I would like to experiment with that.
Definitely.
Going forward, yeah.
These other points here too, down below this bar, this is other ways that they're going to engage, but they're not directly sequential in the steps. So they can join the Slack community there too.
That is actually interesting. This might be a consideration for, the designs, the upcoming designs. Maybe if we think about this certainly as kind of almost like a funnel, right? That sign up funnel now we're in. Maybe we can think about this actually throughout the entire user journey map. At any point when we realize, okay, they're not ready, or for whatever reason they don't want to join the cohort yet, it's like maybe we give them the offer, well, join the community, so you can keep up to date and start exploring. To keep them in the loop, right? Like, I'd rather just have them join the community at the very least, if they're at all interested, but maybe not ready to pull the trigger on the cohort, so that they start getting some value from the community. They start realizing how the people are, who they are, and then they can make the decision of if they want to join the cohorts later on.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes. I just added it here.
Yep. Perfect.
Okay. It definitely makes sense. Okay. So what they're looking for here is a clear CTA to apply for the cohort. They could also be looking for, with what we were just talking about, other ways to get involved.
Yeah. Okay.
And again, yeah, this is going to keep changing, keep adding. This is all part of the process here. They were not feeling super certain about the route, but they were a little, it wasn't that as difficult as finding out what was in the cohort here. Some quotes here, a lot of call to action buttons that kind of look the same, a bit difficult, pretty easy. So it wasn't difficult for everybody. Just want to say that,
right.
Yeah. And then the touch points here is going to be CoStarting, website, the application, typo here, application form, email, and then like you just said, possibly an intro video too, add that in there. Okay, so this is the second biggest area for us to improve too. So these are going to be pretty important outcomes here. So we want some clear CTAs here. And I think we need to have a conversation about this later, but the differentiation.
Yeah, I think that's going to be more. I agree.
Okay. And then when and how the customer will get a response. So after people submit a response, the success page that you get, it doesn't say, when you're going to reach out to them, how you're going to reach out to them. So it's important to communicate that, to keep that really open expectations for people.
Mm-hmm.
Automate a message. This is something you were talking about with Rafael. You want to send some automated messages. Set up a Calendly link for people to schedule those calls with you, those vetting application calls with you. And then the funnel we were just talking about too. I will not reiterate that point. Okay, anything to add for that, Marwan, or do you want to jump on to the next one here?
Yeah, let's jump on.
Okay.
The next one. So yeah.
Feel free to go quick through that one, because I think that one is, first of all, it's the best perceived, and also I think we all, I at least understand that part the best, right?
Yeah. So yeah, pretty much pre-kickoff, introduce the other members or group members together, define goals and success, cohort 1 weekly meet, or whichever cohort weekly meetings, work through weekly goals, post weekly on social media, blog post, all of that. And then, of course, always be part of the Slack community. Virtual coffee, that's a big one that you like to host. Just being involved with the community. Where to report weekly progress, receiving video conference links. And then fun to be a part of the group. So as you can see, it goes up because they're interacting and they're in there, they're engaging. So they like, you know, they like what they're doing. It's involved. It's it's a good time. Excited to launch their products. So they're up in the rise. They're going up and up. You have to. So I guess quotes. You have to give to get. That's a big one. That should be like a motto or something, to be honest. So influential and helpful. And then, yeah, of course, CoStarting, Slack, video software, Notion, and then the outcomes, create a more specific method, framework to help reach customers, archive their unique goals, achieve unique goals. You know, concrete milestones achieved in their product service development, step-by-step guidance for certain customers, turn, BIP, building a public videos into assets for customers, automated testimonies, certificate certificate after completion. Maybe, I don't know. What do you usually do after?
Nothing.
So yeah, that's a potential. Third party partnerships, expand network, and monitoring possibilities.
Oh, another. I just sorry. Yeah, Marwan, I just added these as well. So these are probably right before the meeting I just added these. So you're probably bit surprised with these. I just want to add these are all from Rafael. These last 4 are just from our call with Rafael, or my call with Rafael. So these are just kind of just some suggestions that he had. And the third party partnerships, just to explain that a little bit more, he was talking about basically perks, like other businesses that are similar. They're maybe helping people with customer discovery or some unique part of the process. And so you could partner with them and they would be giving people perks. And that can also be related to the methodology and framework a little bit, or what people are getting throughout the process. But there's a lot here, but this is like a whole other avenue to really go down too.
Right. Okay.
Sorry to jump in there, Marwan.
No, it's good.
Okay. Should I go through the last one then here?
Yeah, I think the last one is probably going to be something we can more improve on as well, I would imagine.
Yes, and we talked a bit about that last week too. I mean, that's something we need to get more information about how people want to engage afterwards. But basically, the post cohort here, they're going to participate in conversations on the Slack community, and they're possibly going to join a peer group. They're going to get and give feedback and support, virtual coffee meetings, and bounce ideas off of the community. They're going to want to get information about different co-starting events that may be happening in the future. This newsletter, which looks like you're still developing here, and then information about peer groups. They're going to want that too. This is from the interviews we gathered. People are feeling a bit uncertain of what kind of value they'll continue to get afterwards. And this quote just reiterates that point that the communities I do pay for come with content or added value or additional value added. Touch points here again, the website, Slack, and the video software. So this is a big question for later. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to dive too much into this space with our own project here, but in the future, CoStarting does need to look at more ways to get people engaged moving forward and defining the value of a peer group. Now we're getting pretty close with like defining that value of the cohort, but we need to then define that for the peer group, and then possibly connecting with people who are at a similar stage of development.
Okay, makes sense. The good thing is a lot of this work now, these next couple of steps are going to be able to be reused for similar process for the peer groups, right? And then just kind of weave everything into the landing page. already with the tabs, right? Like we have cohorts, we have peer groups, maybe we have, I don't know, virtual coffee, kind of break those out. Okay, makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I think this is great. Nothing shocking, right? All things expected, some better than expected, none worse than I expected. So that's also good. Know your weaknesses and all that, right? Good, awesome. Love the confirmation of where the work is.
Oh, is everyone okay? We'll just need a couple minutes to finish up here to kind of talk about our next step moving forward. Is
I have a couple more.
Okay. Just a quick response though. I'm very curious. Do you find this valuable?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yeah. See,
okay.
So I might not. That's exactly what we just talked about. When last week I was kind of critical about this, right? And because the customers don't know always what they want, right? I'm your customer. I didn't really know if I need this or want this. I was doubtful that we would get a lot of useful information about, well, primarily about the second and third column, I guess, is what we were talking about. But it is actually pleasantly better in the second column than expected. And if nothing else, it's a great confirmation on the third column. And I guess what helps at least a little bit is making it more concrete and pointing out which ones are the low-hanging fruit we should pick first, right?
Yes. Yeah. So that's just, and with the more concrete point, that's what I was speaking about a little bit before. You could break up these steps even further, and it's going to get a lot more concrete. You're going to get way more into the nitty-gritty there. I don't think that we have the time for that, to be honest, with our limited time. I think we should put our efforts into this, really columns 2 through 4, on making really amazing high fidelities for you. So that's really our next step is we're going to start these high fidelities. We're going to start sketching just to get our brainstorming out, and then start these high fidelities, really focusing on these key aspects in columns 2, 3, and 4.
Yep, I agree, completely agree. I did want to say, as you guys are getting started, obviously you're going to communicate with me. If you want to, if you find value in engaging the community we have, I think that we could do that. I think that might be an interesting idea. Like as you sketch, kind of A/B test certain things maybe with the people we have. Also, if you want me to throw it on LinkedIn and Slack, LinkedIn on Twitter, happy to do that. Or you can just do it if you prefer, and I can retweet it. Like live the co-starting mentality, right? Live the building in public, if as much as you want. I'm not gonna, force you to do it, but I think it could be interesting to see as you go through. I don't know. Let's pick any of those, right? The cohort requirements are hard to find. Okay, how do we make this easier? Here are our 2 suggestions. What are the reactions from the community, right? Like that'd be kind of cool to do a couple of these tests along the way.
I agree with that. Yes, I'm down for that.
As much as, permits, because of course that's quite a bit of work.
We have to be mindful of time too, because that will take a little extra time to prepare it and be able to send different versions of the screens for people to compare. But that will be helpful for us as well. One more thing I'm thinking too, just to circle back. How do you feel about the personas? Just to close up that, should we leave them where it is?
I think it's good enough for now. I mean, we could certainly do more work there, but I do agree it's probably going to be more beneficial to take as much time now really getting into the design, the UX and UI design phase, right? And getting those mock-ups and sketches, because we could also spend hundreds of hours in that alone, right? So I want to give you guys as much on that as possible. I think the persona is a good start. I can either, you saw the message from earlier, I'm certainly going to plan on making design as a whole a more integral part of the week to week, even after our engagement. And this will be a great starting point for whoever is going to pick up the gauntlet, kind of.
And then when you have more customers, they can have more data and more variation between people to have these differentiated personas.
Yep.
So yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, so full steam ahead from my perspective. That's funny. Okay, great. So are we, like I asked earlier, are we on schedule though? Like so far? Did we
We're
fall
on
behind
schedule.
already? No?
Well, I guess when we were supposed to, yeah, we're on schedule.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, I guess we're then like a day behind
day,
technically.
That was
But
our next one is Monday, so it's fine.
Okay, yeah. That's the first lesson for you guys. There's no notion of weekends or holidays for entrepreneurs, so forget about that right away.
I'm having a weekend. I'm going to Big Sur tomorrow.
Well, take your laptop, would you?
Ben. Yeah.
One thing I remembered, so it was an email, I think, the access to card. So what I would suggest to keep that simple, first of all, don't feel like you need to do it in card. If we end up with only having designs and a prototype or something in InVision or whatever tool you choose, right? Just let me know before you make the decision, so I can make sure that I know at least a little bit about the tool. I think that's okay. If we can get something in cart, that would have been, of course, fantastic. But you can sign up for the free version. It allows you to do quite a bit and play with it. But I don't think it makes sense to try to, I don't even know how we would do it, right? It certainly doesn't make sense for you to sign up for the paid account, which you would need to get access to the current website. But there really isn't all that much you could do, which you don't see from just the public website right now. So I think for you, and again, correct me if you feel differently about it, but it probably makes more sense to just actually focus on the design aspect and not the implementation aspect of anything. And if we get it to that point, then that's my job, or used to be my job, to build the stuff afterwards, right? And
yes, we'll need to focus on design before implementation, but also consider that as we're designing it.
Right.
Well, I think we should talk more about that on Monday too.
Okay.
Exactly how we'll be delivering the designs, because we need to get on the same page with it.
Yeah. Ideally, I think if you could come up with a proposal on Monday and tell me what your plan would be. I'm sure I don't think I'm going to have big reservations or objections to anything. Like I said, I'm usually working with any of the tools out there, as long as you're not coming back and I don't even know.
We're using Figma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Have
fine.
you used Figma before?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Okay.
Can Figma do prototypes? No, right? Just a design or the
mock-up? It can do prototypes.
Oh, I can?
Okay. And you can share a file. So we can share our file with you. And it's just like with the asset with the persona and the journey map, we can share that with you. And that way you can edit them in the future. It's better for you that way. So
awesome. Yeah, no, that's fine.
Cool. Well, see you both Monday.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks, guys. This, like I said, pleasantly surprised about how actually helpful this user journey map feels. So you never stop learning, right?
Nope.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much. Enjoy your weekends. Don't party too hard. Work a little bit.
No promises.
Yeah, Liz. You'll be seeing me a lot sooner than Monday.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'll see you guys soon.
All right.
Bye.